The apex species, the galaxy had a name that echoed in every corner of space Dravari for over 2,000 years. The Dravari were known as the most dangerous beings alive. They came from a planet called Draka, a place so deadly that only the strongest creatures could survive a single day. Giant storms crushed cities. The oceans boiled. Mountains moved like beasts. Even the plants could kill. But the Dravari lived there. Not just lived, ruled. They were tall, armored by nature, with claws that could cut steel and minds sharp enough to lead empires. Other species called them Deathworlders, because only a species born in death could grow so powerful. No one dared challenge them. No one even spoke against them. The Dravari did not need armies to control the galaxy. Just fear. That fear was enough. Something strange happened. A small ship entered their space. No weapons active. No fleet following it asked permission to land. It came from a planet called Earth. The Dravari laughed. Earth. One of the elders grunted. Never heard of it. A soft world, another said. Probably water and birds. Let them land, said General Kraz, commander of the Death Circle. We'll show them what true Deathworlders look like. The human ship landed on the outer plains of Kargas Prime, the capital planet of the Dravari. A crowd gathered, excited to see this fragile creature. Children climbed walls. Warriors sharpened blades. From the ship, a single figure stepped out. A man, no armor, no weapons. Just a plain black suit and a calm face. He looked around, took a deep breath, and smiled. The crowd went quiet. General Kraz stepped forward, towering above the human. You came alone, little Softskin. The human nodded. Yes, you come. To study us, or beg for peace? Neither, he said. I came to see what you are, Kraz snarled. We are Dravari, born in fire. You walk on flowers. You do not belong here. I walk on bones, the human replied. The crowd gasped before Kraz could speak. A young Dravari warrior jumped down from the walls. I challenge him, the warrior shouted. Let me crush him. Kraz laughed. Very well, show him what. A real Deathworlder is, the warrior charged. The human did not run. He stepped to the side, grabbed the warrior's arm, and twisted. A loud crack echoed. The warrior screamed and fell. Gasps filled the air. Another Dravari jumped in rage. Then another. 3 warriors charged the human. He ducked, rolled, moved like water, one by one. He dropped them fast, clean, silent. The crowd stopped laughing. Now they stared. Kraz's eyes narrowed. What is your name? Lieutenant Marcus. Hail, the human said, standing over the fallen warriors. From Earth, you fight well, Kraz growled. But tricks don't make you one of us. Marcus looked up at him. I'm not here to be one of you. I'm here to show you that you're not alone anymore. Back at the Dravari High Command, the council met in private chambers. This human broke 3 of our soldiers with his bare hands. He bled, one elder said. He is not invincible. No, another replied, but he is something else. The footage of the fight replayed on the screens, fast, precise, calm, no anger, no fear. Where is Earth? Asked an old voice from the corner. No one answered, because no one really knew. It was too far, too quiet. A world never involved in war. A world no one watched until now. Marcus was taken into the Dravari fortress, not as a prisoner, but as a puzzle. They ran tests, scanned his body. They found bone density 3 times the galactic average. muscle fibers that healed faster than expected, and strange brain activity parts lighting up even in silence. But one thing shocked them most. He had survived a place more dangerous than DR, aka R.Earth, a world with volcanoes, hurricanes, predators with venom, diseases that evolved faster than science could keep up, a world where creatures killed for fun, and humans had not just survived, they had thrived. At night, Marcus stood outside the fortress. The sky of Kargas Prime glowed with 3 red moons. Kraz stepped beside him. "You're not like the others," the general said. "I didn't come to be liked," Marcus replied. Kraz stared at him. "You fight well, but one human does not make a threat." Marcus nodded. "You're right." He pulled out a small device and pressed a button. A hologram opened in the sky. It showed a fleet, hundreds of ships, silent, waiting. "I'm just the first," Marcus said. The moons above flickered in their reflection. And, for the first time in 2,000 years, a Dravari warrior felt something cold inside his chest. Not fear, warning, asterisk. The unkillable visitor. The news spread like wildfire across Kargas Prime. A human defeated Dravari warriors, alone, without weapons. Many refused to believe it. Some said it was staged. Others claimed the warriors held back out of pity. But deep down, they all felt something had shifted. Marcus Hale wasn't just another visitor. He was a storm wrapped in silence. In the days that followed, Dravari scientists tested Marcus in ways most would call torture. He stood in a freezing chamber for 6 hours. No shiver. They raised the gravity in his room to 5 times normal. He did push-ups. They injected him with a virus that once killed 3 alien species. His body killed it in minutes. General Kraz watched from behind a thick window. "What is he?" A younger officer whispered. Kraz didn't answer. He wasn't sure. Anymore, Marcus walked calmly through the fortress halls. He watched everything, every shadow, every breath. He smiled politely, but his eyes saw too much. Guards stepped aside when he passed. Even the boldest Dravari hesitated to make eye contact, but one did not. Her name was Tharza, daughter of a battle-born clan. She stood in Marcus's path, arms crossed, weapons holstered. "You walk like a king," she said. Marcus stopped. "And you block my path like a gate." Tharza stepped closer. "Dravari don't follow strangers, especially not soft ones." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Try me." Without warning, she swung her fist. It hit Marcus's jaw like a hammer. He didn't flinch. She pulled back, shaking her hand in pain. "Bone density," he said casually. "Yours is about 30% less than mine." Tharza narrowed her eyes. "You're not stronger than us." "No," Marcus replied. "Just built for worse things." That night, Tharza sat alone, watching Earth's biological reports. She read about lions, sharks, polar storms, pandemics, snakes, and humans. Then she saw one clipperman swimming in a lava lake. It was real. She leaned back in her chair, silent. Maybe Draco wasn't the only Deathworld after all. Elsewhere, the Dravari Council debated in private. "We need to test him further. We need to kill him. We need to understand Earth." Kraz stood at the center of the room. "You already tested him," he said. "You froze him, starved him, poisoned him, and he lived." Another elder hissed. "Nothing kills him." Kraz looked around. "That's the point. He's not here to attack us. He came to warn us." Back in his chamber, Marcus activated his communicator. A hologram of a woman appeared. Commander Elara from the Human Deep Systems Fleet. Status. She asked. Marcus leaned back. They're listening now. Any threats? Not yet, but they're proud. They don't fear pain. Only humiliation. Elara nodded. Good. Earth doesn't want war. But if they move, we finish it fast. Marcus nodded slowly. One way or another, they'll understand what we are. The next morning, Marcus was summoned to the arena, a place of blood, of honor. Crowds filled the sky seats. Thousands of Dravari warriors came to witness the truth with their own eyes. Marcus stood in the center, shirt off, calm as stone. Across from him stood Gorax, the tower, the largest living warrior on Kargas Prime, 10 feet tall, all muscle, a legend, no weapons, no armor, just flesh against flesh. The drums beat once, then again the third time. Gorax charged, the crowd roared. Marcus didn't move. He watched, measured, and at the last second stepped left. Gorax crashed into the wall behind him, cracking stone. The fight began and ended in 47 seconds. Gorax lay face down, unconscious. Marcus stood above him, breathing calmly. No blood, no bruise, only silence. Then, the entire stadium erupted in a sound no Dravari had ever made before. Cheers. Tharza watched from the shadows. Arms crossed. He was not faster, he was not bigger, but he was something else, efficient. Later that day, a message was broadcast across the Dravari system. Earth is not seeking war, the voice said, but it will not bow, it will not run, and it will not forget. The voice was Marcus's. The image behind him showed Earth, not a shining city, but wild forests, volcanoes, frozen oceans, and deserts filled with monsters. A world of chaos, a world where only one species climbed to the top. Humans back in the council chambers. Kraz spoke once more. Draka made us strong because it tried to kill us every day, but so did Earth. The elders looked uneasy. Kraz's voice grew sharper. Let us not wait for Earth to bring more. Let us listen now, or next time. We may not be warned. And so, for the first time in Dravari history, their leadership hesitated, not from fear of death, but from fear of a visitor who simply refused to die. The truth about Earth inside the Dravari Hall of Learning. Marcus stood alone before a massive holographic sphere. Projectors hummed as the galaxy rotated slowly above his head. Red lights marked Deathworlds. There were 11, Draka, of course, glowed the brightest. Then Marcus lifted his hand. A new dot appeared. Blue, bright. It pulsed beneath the label, Earth. The scholars in the hall leaned forward. Many had never even heard of the planet. Others only knew the name from rumors. A world too far, too quiet, too strange. Let me show you something, Marcus said softly. The lights dimmed, the hologram shifted, and Earth came alive. The first image showed a jungle teeming with life. But it wasn't beautiful. It was brutal. A snake strangled a jaguar. A spider dragged a bird underground. Trees oozed acid. Even the leaves moved like claws. This is just one forest, Marcus said. We call it the Amazon. It tries to kill you from the moment you breathe. The room was quiet. Then came deserts, dry winds, sandstorms, scorpions the size of hands, temperatures that boiled skin during the day and froze blood at night. Survive here and you earn your next breath. Next, volcanoes, earthquakes, tornadoes, lightning that struck from blue skies. A picture flashed of a man climbing an erupting mountain. No suit, no shield, just will. Then came animals, sharks, crocodiles, lions, bears, parasites that made their way to the brain, microscopic viruses that mutated faster than any computer could track. And then, humans. The hologram zoomed in on soldiers, hiking through snowstorms, divers swimming beneath glaciers, miners digging kilometers underground, firefighters running into burning buildings, children walking to school through war zones. Every part of Earth teaches you to survive, Marcus said. Not with size, not with claws, with the mind. He paused. Pain made us smart. The scholars didn't speak. One finally asked, "What is your home's survival rate?" Marcus replied calmly, "For every 1,000 born, many never make it to 5 years." Gasps echoed. Another voice whispered, "That's impossible." "No," Marcus said. "That's normal." Meanwhile, General Kraz watched the feed from the war hall. Around him, high-ranking officers stood stiff. One finally spoke. "We thought they were weak because we never saw them in battle." "They didn't need to fight," Kraz muttered. "Their planet did the fighting for them." Back in the Hall of Learning, Tharza stepped forward. She looked at Marcus with new eyes. "We thought Draca was the only world that shaped monsters." Marcus turned to her. "No, Draca creates monsters." He paused. "Earth creates something worse." "What?" Marcus smiled. "Monsters with memory." The next feed shocked everyone. It showed the ruins of human history. Cities turned to ash. Nuclear wars. Flooded continents. Entire nations destroyed. Each time humanity fell, but it always rose again. Stronger, sharper, smarter. "We destroyed ourselves more than once," Marcus said, "and we still came back." The Dravari looked at each other uneasily. No empire in their history had survived one total collapse. Earth had survived 5 in the private Dravari council chamber. Elder Goric slammed his fist on the table. They were meant to be insects. They were meant to be ignored. Another elder hissed. Kraz looked down. "We ignored them because they were quiet, but they weren't hiding. They were training." Back on the learning floor, Marcus pointed to the Earth hologram one final time. "There's a reason humans don't fear death. We live with it. We eat near it. We raise our children beside it." He looked at every face in the room. "Draca is impressive, but Earth doesn't test you once. It tests you every day, every breath." Tharza stepped beside him. She looked at the crowd, then said only one word: "Respect." The next morning, hundreds of young Dravari lined up outside the human vessel, not to challenge Marcus, but to learn inside. Earth's data was downloaded into the Dravari core systems. Not blueprints, not weapons, history. Marcus sat with Kraz that evening. They shared silence, watching the twin suns dip behind the mountains. "Why now?" Kraz asked. "Why did your kind finally come?" Marcus sipped his drink, then answered, "Because one of your fleets passed near a Terran colony. It scared a child." Kraz blinked. "That's all?" Marcus nodded. "That's enough." Across the galaxy, word spread. A new Deathworld had entered the game. But this one wasn't loud. It didn't roar, it whispered, and the whole galaxy leaned in to hear asterisk. The gauntlet challenged. The Dravari were proud, but they were not stupid. After Marcus revealed the truth about Earth, a storm of doubt swept through their people. Warriors questioned their title. Elders whispered of change. And General Kraz knew the next step would decide everything. So he gave the order, put him in the gauntlet. The gauntlet was no test, it was a sentence. A brutal maze hidden beneath the surface of Kargas Prime. No weapons, no mercy. Just a labyrinth designed to break body and mind. Only Dravari, who survived 10 death duels, were even allowed to try it. No outsider had ever walked out alive. Marcus nodded when he heard the challenge. Not in arrogance, but in understanding. You need to see, he said quietly. The gate slammed shut behind him. Silence, then the floor shook. He looked up at a ceiling of blades that began to descend, slowly at first. Then faster. Marcus ran, not straight. He zigzagged through tunnels, each one rigged with traps. Burning jets, collapsing tiles, poison darts, shifting walls. He was cut, bruised, smeared in dust and blood. But he kept moving, from above. The Davari watched on giant screens. Hundreds gathered. Tharza stood beside Kraz, eyes locked on the footage. He doesn't hesitate, she said. Kraz nodded. He calculates, like he's fought these before. Deep inside the gauntlet, Marcus entered a vast chamber. Then the door, locked behind him. From the shadows stepped a Threx beast, genetically enhanced for war. 8 feet tall, claws like blades. It growled, shaking the walls. Marcus blinked once, then moved. He didn't charge. He waited. The beast lunged and Marcus rolled beneath its legs, slicing at a tendon with a shard of metal he'd taken earlier from a broken trap. The beast howled. He jumped onto its back, wrapped wire from the floor around its neck, and pulled, until the beast collapsed. 10 seconds, silence. Then Marcus whispered, "Next." The screens flickered. Dravari gasped. He killed a Threx with no weapons. Impossible, unreal. But it WASN, single quote. It was human. The gauntlet's final room was called the Hall of Echoes. A mirrored chamber filled with flashing lights, sound distortions, and illusions. Most warriors went mad in minutes. Marcus stepped in slowly. Holograms flickered. He saw images of earth-burning cities, crying children, empty craters. Then voices. "You failed. You're weak. You're not one of them." He stood still. Let the images wash over him. Then he said, softly, "I've heard worse." From myself, he walked forward, shattering every mirror with his bare hands until the room shut down. Above. A siren sounded. The gauntlet had been completed, for the first time in Dravari history. By a non-Dravari, the doors opened. Marcus stepped into the light, bloody but standing straight. Not a word spoken, but the crowd roared. Dravari, warriors who once laughed at him now, raised fists in salute, not in mockery, in respect. Tharza met him at the exit. She didn't speak, just handed him a flask. He drank, then passed it back. "I was expecting worse," he said. She smiled. "You didn't see the old version. We removed the lava pit." Marcus raised a brow. "Next time, leave it in." Kraz stood before the High Council that evening. He completed the gauntlet, one elder said. "No tricks, no help," another added. "He is not like us." "No," Kraz replied. "He is beyond us." Later that night, Marcus stood alone atop the fortress wall. The wind howled. Stars glittered across the sky. Tharza joined him. "You changed something," she said. "No," he replied. "You changed yourself. I just gave you a mirror." Tharza looked at him. "Why come here, really? Why risk death for people who laughed at you?" Marcus turned slowly, "To remind you that you're not at the top." He paused, and to warn you that Earth isn't alone. Elsewhere, deep in space, a hidden fleet received a signal. Encrypted, ancient, human. A voice said only this: the gauntlet is done. They understand now. And in the shadows of the galaxy, other species listened not to Earth's voice, but to the silence left behind by its strongest sun. When empires tremble, the gauntlet had been completed. Not by a Dravari, not by a clone, not by a beast bred in war, but by a human dash alone. It sent a message louder than any war cry. Earth had arrived, and the galaxy listened. News of Marcus Hale's survival spread beyond Kargas Prime within hours. Star networks broadcast the footage, a lone Terran walking calmly out of the gauntlet. Soaked in blood, head held high. At first, most viewers thought it was fake, a trick, a staged show. But then the data followed. Medical scans, energy signatures, unedited logs. The truth was undeniable. One human had endured what no alien ever had. In the control chamber of the Tarnic Dominion, Emperor Rasak slammed his clawed fist into a console. He was supposed to die, he hissed. His advisors stood. In silence, Rasak's voice dropped. This changes the balance. One general stepped forward, whispering, "We've mocked Earth for too long. If one of them can do this, they have fleets." Another said, "They have tech we've never seen. They have discipline." Rasak's eye twitched. Then, "We must respond." On Kargas Prime, General Kraz summoned the Dravari High Council for an emergency meeting. For centuries, they ruled through dominance, through raw strength. Now, even their own people questioned it. The chamber was silent as Kraz placed a small device on the table. A recording played. Earth's voice, Marcus's voice. Oath does not seek war. But if you bring it to our door, we will answer completely. Kraz let it hang in the air. "They didn't come here to conquer," he said. "They came to warn us." An elder leaned forward. "Then why the gauntlet?" "To show us," Kraz replied, "that our rule is over." In the city below, statues of old Dravari champions stood tall, but whispers moved through the streets. "Did you see the Terran? He fought a Threx with nothing. His scars didn't bleed." Some started carving Marcus's name into walls. Others drew crude images of Earth's forests and oceans beside Dravari battle sigils. The Empire was shifting and it scared the old guard. Meanwhile, aboard a hidden station in the Volari cluster, an elite scout force reviewed recent Terran activity. They found strange things, ships, appearing in one location and vanishing instantly, signals bouncing through folded space, black boxes from lost fleets, replaying only static followed by human. Whispers. One officer looked pale. "These aren't just Deathworlders," he said. "They're planners. They've been watching us." Another replied, "What if they were waiting all this time?" The commander leaned back. "Then we just woke a predator that wanted to be left alone." On Dravari soil, Marcus Hale sat quietly. In a stone courtyard, sipping a dark liquid Tharza insisted was drinkable fire. She sat across from him. "You were never afraid," she said. "I was," he admitted, "but I never let it speak." She studied him. "What happens now?" "Empires break," Marcus said, "then rebuild, smarter. And if they don't," he looked at the stars, "then they vanish." Back in the Kargas Prime War Hall, alarms sounded. Sensors picked up hundreds of warp signatures in nearby systems. The Tarnic Dominion had sent ships not to attack, not yet to intimidate, to remind the galaxy who still held numbers. Kraz watched the display, ships moving like teeth in space. He turned to his commanders. If we respond with violence, we begin a war Earth didn't ask for, one voice argued. And if we do nothing, Kraz answered, then let Earth decide. A signal was sent to Marcus's ship. Encrypted, Priority Alpha. He read the message in silence, then tapped once on his communicator. 2 hours later, a ripple appeared in the void above Kargas Prime. Not a ship, a fleet 20 Terran vessels emerged without any warp trace, no energy surge, no warning. They simply appeared, sleek, black, silent, weapons offline, but shields, shimmering with power, no one could scan. The Dravari watched from the surface in awe. The Tarnic fleet sent a challenge signal. The Terran flagship replied with a message. We do not seek war, but we are ready. No threats, no demands, just presence in the Kargas throne chamber. A decision had to be made. Old warriors wanted to fight. Younger ones hesitated. For the first time, the strongest among them were silent. Daza entered the room uninvited. She placed a data crystal on the floor. A recording played. Marcus Dash inside the gauntlet. Fighting, bleeding, winning. She looked around the room. If one Terran can do this, imagine 1,000. The council stared, some in fear, some in respect, and one in awe. The Tarnic fleet slowly turned away, not defeated, but unwilling, and the galaxy trembled, not from explosions, not from screaming empires, but from something worse. Understanding, asterisk anew. Name for Deathworlders stars above Kargas. Prime burned calm once more. The Tarnic fleet had vanished into the void, leaving only quiet tension behind. But no one cheered. There was no parade, no flags, because the Dravari understood something far deeper had changed. Their age of fear was over. Marcus Hale stood on the edge of the ancient balcony overlooking the capital. Below him, thousands of Dravari walked the city, their heads raised. Not in defiance, but in thought. They weren't staring at him. They were staring at the empty space where his fleet had just stood. Not one ship had fired. Not one had needed to. Tharza joined him, her boots clicking softly against the stone. We've never stood down, she said. Marcus nodded slowly. Then maybe it's time to stand for something else. She looked at him. You broke our pride. No, he said. I showed you where it was weak. In the council hall, Kraz faced the elders one last time. Our people are warriors. One elder growled. If we give up our rule, what are we? Kraz stood tall, alive. He let the words sink in. For thousands of years, we ruled through pain. But pain doesn't build. It only consumes. Earth doesn't want to lead, but they have already changed us. Another elder asked, and what will they call us now? Kraz turned to the window. We will call ourselves what we were always meant to be, survivors, not conquerors. Later that day, a global broadcast was sent out from Kargas Prime. It played across every frequency, translated into every major galactic dialect. Tharza stood before the camera, flanked by Marcus and Kraz. Her voice was calm, strong. We, the Dravari, once called ourselves the only Deathworlders. We were wrong. She paused. We met one from Earth. He did not come with armies. He did not come to destroy. But he showed us what survival truly means. Behind her, footage played. Marcus walking out of the gauntlet, standing unarmed before fleets, speaking. Two crowds without fear, Tharza continued. Earth is not just another world. It is a mirror of fire and frost, of pain and evolution, and humanity is its echo. She stepped aside. Marcus approached the microphone. I didn't come to take your crown. I came to warn you. He looked into the lens. There are things in this galaxy far worse than us. We've seen them, and we've prepared. Another pause. You thought you were alone at the top. Now you know. You are not. Across the galaxy, species stopped to watch. On merchant ships, in mining colonies, inside cold bunkers everywhere, the same silence followed. Even pirate clans, known for mocking every broadcast, sat frozen. One whispered, the Deathworlders are human. Back on Earth, the Terran High Command reviewed the broadcast in silence. Commander Elara leaned forward, nodding. We didn't just protect our name, she said. We elevated it. A young officer smiled. They'll never laugh again. No, Elara said. Now they'll listen. In the days that followed, the galaxy shifted. Dravari war academies replaced their core teachings with Terran survival tactics. Children learned Earth history alongside their own. Dravari soldiers began wearing new badges carved with a Terran flame crossed with the Dravari fang. And a new word was whispered, slowly at first, then loudly, Terakari. It meant brothers of Earth, not just humans, but those who endured like humans. Marcus prepared to leave. His mission was done. As he stepped toward his ship, Tharza stopped him. You taught us something we forgot. What's that? She touched her chest. That strength without heart is just noise. Marcus smiled. Keep remembering that. She handed him a small stone plaque, carved with Dravari runes. For you, he took it gently. What does it say? She grinned. Not the first, not the last. The ship rose, quiet, steady, and behind it, the people once feared across the stars stood watching. Not in anger, not in shame, but in honor. Because the title they once carried alone now had a new meaning. Deathworlder. It no longer meant Deathvara. It no longer meant savage. It meant something else. Something deeper. Something earned. It meant human.